People often talk about Iran as a country with a complicated political situation, often having disagreements and conflicts with other countries in the Middle East. But politics, power, and conflicts are not all about Iran. Few people know that in the Middle East, Iran is one of the countries with the most abundant and diverse nature, with deep blue seas. Pristine archipelagos, burning deserts, and vast green forests. Besides, Iran is the cradle of the Persian Empire, one of the most brilliant civilizations in the ancient world. Over the millennia, the ancient cities in Iran still preserve thousands of ancient structures, architectures, and artifacts, helping the source of history continue to flow to the next generation. Let's explore with us an Iran that is completely different from what the world says. The ship left the Bandar Abbas wharf, crossing the turquoise waters of the Persian Gulf. After about an hour, Hormuz Island, a strip of crimson land rising from the calm sea, gradually appeared. The wind carried the salty scent of minerals, typical of the place where land and sea meet. Hormuz Island is located in the middle of the strait of the same name, about 8 kilometers from the mainland. The entire island was formed from a giant block of salt rising from the ground. Over millions of years, Hormuz was eroded by wind and water, creating a rugged terrain with many layers of dark rock. In the past, Hormuz was the most important transit point of goods in the ancient world, where the Portuguese, Persian, and Arab empires constantly fought for control. At Red Beach, the hematite-rich soil dissolves gently into the waves, causing the water surface to change color from turquoise to dark red every time the tide comes in. When the waves recede, the water leaves a streak of color on the shore, as if it had just swept over a layer of mineral mud. At one corner of the island, the mouth of the Great Salt Cave opens up between the silvery stone slopes. Inside the cave are steep salt walls. The surface is jagged with gray-white crystals, easily broken. On the highest peak in Hormuz, the Portuguese fortress still stands proudly, although only the walls are cracked by time. The The vegetation on the island is very sparse, with only a few low, salt-tolerant shrubs, some desert grasses, small cacti, and mosses and lichens clinging to rocks. Land animals are mostly small reptiles, such as lizards, desert snakes, and migratory seabirds. The sea around Hormuz is quite crowded with small coral reefs, clams, crabs, tropical fish and plankton growing near the shore. Today, the residents of Hormuz live simply in whitewashed houses, decorated with red made from the red soil on the island. You can rent a tuk-tuk or motorbike to go around the island. A must-see stop is the Portuguese fort, an ancient ruin perched precariously over the Strait of Hormuz. From here, you can watch modern ships sail through the waters around the island. In addition, the island also has silver sand beaches, salt caves, and the Moon Valley Coastal Road, an ideal place to take geological photos, observe ancient volcanic terrain, From Hormuz, the boat continues south, landing you on Keshum Island after more than an hour. No longer the fiery red soil, Keshum Island has a softer shade of yellow sand, white salt, and deep blue sea stretching to the horizon. The scenery on the island constantly changes according to the terrain. Thick-rooted mangrove forests protrude above the water. Tin-roofed fishing villages dot the sand. Jagged, rocky valleys lead to the inland. In the north of the island is Chaku Canyon, a steep rock face cut by water and wind into small, winding grooves. Further west, the Namakdan Salt Cave opens from a low mountainside. Inside, the air is cool. The cave floor and cliffs are covered with salt crystals that form rough patches. From the cave ceiling, drops of water fell to the rocky floor. On the island, the Valley of the Stars stretched out like a surreal world. The rocks were carved into many strange shapes by wind and time. The ecosystem on Keshum Island brings a vivid contrast between the desert, the mangrove forest, and the ocean. In the Hera mangrove forest, the Hera tree rises from the water with its strong black roots. This is a natural home to many migratory birds such as white storks, herons, terns. Underwater is home to many small fish and crustaceans such as crabs and even small reptiles. The waters around the island are home to sea turtles, especially green turtles and caretta turtles, along with bottlenose dolphins and many rare seabirds. Visiting Keshum Island is an opportunity for you to experience a completely different Iran. Wild, original, and closely connected to nature. One of the most memorable experiences is a boat trip through the Hera mangrove forest. When the tides rise and turn the forest into a watery maze, you can quietly observe migratory birds and endemic species living here. On the way back, you should visit the ancient village of Laft, where the Barjil wind towers use wind pressure to cool houses. This is a testament to the clever construction techniques of the people of the bay. Finally, join a trekking trip into Chaku Gorge to feel the geological transformation over millions of years carved into the cliffs. After leaving Keshum Island by road or by car along the coast, you will pass through the arid land of Balochistan. The desert stretches on both sides of the road. The sun burns, the sand stretches to the horizon. Suddenly, you hear the steady sound of waves lapping from the Darak Coast of the Indian Ocean. Darak is one of the few places in the world where desert sand dunes meet the ocean directly. The golden sand dunes stretch out in undulating strips with undulating surfaces, falling straight down to the clear turquoise water, creating an ecological space full of contrast and attraction. Between the sand dunes are small streams facing the sea with thin and steady flows. In the past, Darak was a resting place for Arab, Portuguese, and Omani merchants, where they exchanged spices, pearls, and silk. Some coastal villages still retain traces of coral stone architecture and ancient watchtowers, evidence of a vibrant trading period. Baylock fishermen go out to sea in traditional wooden boats to catch mackerel, squid, and shrimp. Women stay at home, weaving carpets and hand-embroidering cotton cloth with brightly colored threads. Despite the hot and dry climate year-round, the sea breeze and the steam from the Arabian Sea provide just enough moisture to sustain a thin but resilient layer of coastal vegetation. Amid the arid land, desert palms and drought-resistant plants such as thorn bushes, cacti, and spiky grasses still grow from the white sand. On the Darak Coast, you can trek up the sand dunes in the early morning to admire the golden sand dunes that cascade straight down into the blue waters of the Gulf of Oman. When the sun sets, Darak becomes an ideal camping spot to watch the starry night sky . From the Darak Coast, you will move inland, passing through the towering Rocky Mountains to reach the city of Kerman. After a long journey, the city of Kerman appears on the plateau of southeastern Iran. Kerman was once an important transit station on the Silk Road, connecting caravans from Asia to the Middle East. One of the landscape highlights is the Shahzade Mahan Garden, located on the edge of the city. The trees here are nourished by the ancient Qanat irrigation system, where underground water flows from the mountains through artificial waterfalls, pouring into the quiet lake. Legend has it that Shahzade Mahan Garden was built by a prince out of loneliness and regret. He wanted to create a green paradise to fight against the harsh nature. Since then, the garden has become a symbol of the Persian people's will to transform nature. Further south is the Rayan Fortress, the largest intact clay structure in Iran. The fortress has high and thick walls, divided into rows like a miniature city made of earth. At the end of the day, when the sun sets behind the western mountains, the whole city is immersed in a dark red color, quietly waiting for the darkness to fall. For centuries, Kerman has also been known as the capital of carpet weaving. Kerman women sit for hours at their looms, using wool, silk, and dyes from pomegranates, dates, and turmeric to create works of art. Today, despite rapid urbanization, Kerman still maintains its traditional lifestyle with its domed markets, brick houses, ancient gardens, and traditional carpet weaving. When you come to Kerman, visit the ancient garden of Shahzade Mahan, which is considered an oasis in the arid city. Leaving the garden, you can visit Rayan Fortress, the largest intact clay structure in Iran, which was once a stronghold of ancient Persian warriors. Finally, a walk around Bazar-e Kerman is an indispensable experience. The smell of roasted pistachios, dried saffron, herbal medicines, and carpet wool blend together, spreading the air. At Bazar-e Kerman, you can observe the traditional trading life that has been passed down for centuries since the Silk Road period. Leaving the city of Kerman, the off-road vehicle takes you to the southeastern part of Iran, a kingdom of sand, dry wind, and sunshine. When you get off the vehicle, you can feel the heat rising from the ground through the soles of your shoes. We have arrived at the Lut Desert, one of the 27 World Natural Heritage Sites recognized by UNESCO. According to UNESCO, the Lut Desert is the land with the highest recorded surface temperature on the planet, up to 70.7 degrees Celsius, a giant depression in the middle of the Iranian plateau, where nature is extremely extreme. In ancient Persian, Lut means empty, a name that accurately reflects the wildness and harshness of this land. From above, the ground appears with many layers of interwoven colors. Rippled sand strips stretch continuously to the horizon. Dry, scorching winds carve undulating lines into the sand. To the west of the Lut Desert is the Gandhambarian region, a region of black basalt that has recorded the highest temperatures on the planet. The ground is covered with a layer of solid, dark, ash-colored rock with a rough surface and crisscrossing cracks. To the southeast is the Kalut region, where giant blocks of rock have been cut into strange shapes by the wind. The Kalut ranges are lined up like long walls, tens of meters high, stretching to the horizon. NASA once chose Lut to simulate the conditions of Mars, and Iranians see it as a testament to the endurance and adaptability of life to nature. As one of the hottest and driest places on the planet, the Lut Desert is almost in a sterile state, meaning no animal can live there. However, on the edge of the desert, where the low-lying and rocky terrain retains some moisture, scorpions and desert lizards still exist. They live hidden in crevices, active mainly at night when the temperature drops. There are no significant plants except for a few low thorny bushes and lichens, growing sparsely near the edges of ancient dry streams. Visiting the Lut Desert is entering one of the harshest worlds on the planet. With the help of a guide and specialized equipment, you can measure the surface temperature, observe the natural evaporation phenomenon, and feel the dry heat of the Dashti Lut core. The Lut Desert is also an ideal place to observe the night sky, when the Milky Way appears sharply like a silver silk strip across the sky. You can collect pieces of desert rock that have been melted or deformed by the continuous wind abrasion over millennia. This is a special trip for those who are passionate about geological surveys or want to experience one of the harshest environments on Earth. Off-road vehicles roll towards the west of the Lut Desert. Amidst seemingly endless sand dunes, giant rock formations suddenly emerge one after another. Let's admire Kalut Shahadad, the most special geological area in the Lut Desert. Kalut Shahadad is a special geological area, formed through millions of years of wind and water erosion, creating a unique geological maze over 200 kilometers long, listed by UNESCO as one of the rare geological wonders of the Earth. Each rock formation appears on the gray reddish-brown ground with strange shapes such as columns, walls, spires, or giant corridors. They have rough surfaces and sharp edges due to being cut and worn over millions of years. When the light changes angle, the color of the stone gradually changes from light yellow to dark orange, and finally to copper red. From afar, they look like ancient citadels carved by the magical hands of nature. At night, the wind flows through the crevices of the stone, blowing out a deep and even sound, echoing far away like the breath of time and the earth and sky. People around the area call Kalut Shahadad Ghost City. According to legend, there was once a prosperous city in the middle of the desert, but their arrogance angered the gods. A terrible sandstorm came, engulfing everything, turning people and palaces into stone. Visiting Kalut Shahadad is a journey to explore one of the most impressive geological complexes in the world. You can trek between deep stone grooves, where light and darkness alternate with each movement like in a movie. At dawn or dusk, the sunlight shines on the cliffs, illuminating the yellow, red, and dark brown tones of the rocks. With an almost absolutely clear sky, Kalut Shahadad is also a great place to watch the stars at night. This experience at Kalut Shahadad is suitable for those who are passionate about geology or want to experience the feeling of being small in front of majestic nature. Leaving the Lut Desert, you continue your journey east to the next destination, the Shahr-e Sukhteh ruins, also known as the Burned City. Shahr-e Sukhteh is located in Sistan and Balochistan province, near the Afghan border. The ruins are located on the ancient Silk Road, connecting the civilizations of Persia, India, and Central Asia. Founded around 3200 BC, the city was inhabited in four main periods until 1800 BC. During that time, several distinct areas developed within the city. These included a monumental area, residential areas, industrial areas, and a cemetery, suggesting that Shahr-e Sukhteh was a fully fledged urban area during the Bronze Age. However, due to changes in water flow and climate, Shahr-e Sukhteh was abandoned at the beginning of the second millennium. On the cracked ground, the ruins of an ancient city are still clearly visible. The low walls of layered mud bricks still retain their straight outlines despite being broken. A few stone steps still have worn footprints in between. Ancient mounds rise from the ash-gray plains, mottled with the red of baked clay. Thanks to the hot, dry desert climate, many relics and even skeletons have been preserved intact for more than 5,000 years. In Shahr-e Sukhteh, there have been archaeological discoveries that have amazed the world. The first artificial eye was made of pitch and gold dust. Ancient skull surgery demonstrates the inhabitants' understanding of medicine. And the first cartoon carved on a ceramic vase, depicting a goat jumping up to eat leaves. Shahr-e Sukhteh marks the transition from a village community to an urbanized community with significant achievements and developments in culture, society, and economy, from the late Paleolithic period to the early Bronze Age. Visiting Shahr-e Sukhteh is a journey back more than 5,000 years of history to one of the most developed ancient urban centers in eastern Iran. At the excavation site, you can observe with your own eyes the stacked layers of strata with traces of activities and funeral practices of ancient residents. You can visit the museum at Shahr-e Sukhteh, admire unique and rare artifacts, such as the world's oldest artificial eye, skull surgery instruments, to the most primitive cartoon ceramic pieces in history. When the afternoon falls, take a walk among the ruins dyed in orange-yellow in the sunset. For a moment, you will feel like the ancient city is coming back to life. Shahr-e Sukhteh is the ideal place for those interested in archaeology, history, or want to directly feel the depth of a lost civilization. Leaving the arid desert, the car crossed vast fields, gradually entering Mashad, the largest pilgrimage city in Iran. The golden light of the domes of the mosques can be observed from dozens of kilometers away. It feels like a sacred spiritual world is about to open before your eyes. Mashad city is located in the northeast of Iran, in the province of Razavi Khorasan, on the legendary route of the Silk Road. The land around Mashad possesses a gentle and lively beauty rarely seen in the eastern semi-desert. Surrounding the city are endless wheat fields and saffron gardens. Each row of green trees is watered by canals from the Aladog Range, bringing abundant vitality to this land. When approaching the Imam Reza Shrine, the noisy urban space gradually recedes behind. The square of Imam Reza opens up, where the golden dome of the mosque stands out like a priceless spiritual treasure. Two towering minarets are covered with smooth jade-green tiles, shining brightly in the sunlight. Inside the mosque, the walls and ceiling are completely covered with mosaic glass, using the Aina Kari art. Thousands of small mirrors are assembled, creating a network of tiny lights covering the space. In the middle of the main courtyard, a stream of pilgrims moves silently, their eyes focused on a point deep in the mosque, which they believe is the center of faith. The murmur of prayers and the words of the Quran echo throughout the vast space. The name Mashad in Persian means place of martyrdom. In the 9th century, Imam Reza, the 8th Imam of Shia Islam, was assassinated here. The people built the Imam Reza Shrine to commemorate him. After that, the city of Mashad gradually developed around the Imam Reza Shrine. Every year, tens of millions of pilgrims from all over Iran and Muslim countries come to Mashad. The streams of pilgrims create a river of faith flowing to the spiritual source in Mashad. Visiting Mashad, you will have many interesting experiences at the religious center of Shia Islam. Walking around the Imam Reza Shrine, you will admire the scene of thousands of pilgrims gathering under the beautiful mosaic domes and quietly praying. Inside the shrine grounds, the Astan Quds Razavi Museum preserves rare relics such as ancient hand-embroidered carpets, gilded Quran copies, century-old calligraphy. At the end of the day, find a high point on the edge of the city to watch the sunset covering the golden dome of the shrine in a charming red-orange color. Mashad is a great place to learn about Islamic culture and Iran's religious architecture. From Mashad, continue your journey southwest to your next destination, Nishabur, Khorasan Province. Drive past golden wheat fields, rows of chestnut trees, and lush green lakes. Nishabur, located in the heart of Khorasan Province, was once an important stop on the Silk Road. In the past, merchants, scholars, and poets often stopped at Nishabur before continuing their journey west. Landed under the clear skies of northeastern Iran, Nishabur has fresh air, fertile soil, and lush green trees all year round. In spring, pomegranate flowers bloom in the gardens. In summer, bees buzz around the saffron bushes. Underneath, a famous ancient turquoise mine is still in operation. The turquoise mined here has a distinctive turquoise color and was once used to cover ancient temples and jewelry. Legend has it that the turquoise mines around Nishabur emitted a blue light into the night sky, guiding poets and scholars of ancient times. Turquoise is also a symbol of luck and power in ancient Persian culture. Near the city center is the memorial to Omar Khayyam, a great Iranian poet, mathematician, and astronomer who lived in the 11th century. His tomb, is located under a white dome with a cross-shaped structure made of white stone, designed based on the geometric formulas he himself studied. Omar Khayyam also left humanity the ever-famous Rubaiyat poetry collection. In these short yet profound verses, Khayyam praises the joy of living, the impermanence of human existence, and the fragile beauty of every little moment in life. Not far from Khayyam's tomb is the tomb of Muhammad Attar Nishapuri, another famous poet and theologian who had a profound influence on many later generations of Iranian poets. His works are still taught in schools and read out in cultural and religious gatherings. In Nishabur, poetry appears in every corner of daily life. People often quote poems when chatting, write poems on signs, on walls. At Nishabur, you will feel the quiet, profound place that was once the center of knowledge and art of ancient Persia. First, visit the mausoleum of Omar Khayyam, where you can sit under the shade of trees, recite the Rubaiyat, and listen to the whispering wind. Not far away, the Nishabur turquoise market opens up a world of color and exquisite craftsmanship. Each turquoise stone is hand-polished, shining with a noble blue color, as if containing the soul of the land of eastern Iran. Nishabur is a suitable destination for those who want to combine the enjoyment of literature, traditional arts, and ancient urban space. Saying goodbye to Khorasan, you continue your journey northwest to Golestan province, one of the most biodiverse regions in Iran. Over the gentle hills, the vast space of green forests suddenly opens up. You have arrived at Golestan Park, the intersection of three major ecosystems, from the arid steppe in the east to the rugged Rocky Mountains, and finally, the dense Hyrcanian forest in the west. Golestan National Park is recognized by UNESCO as one of the rarest biosphere reserves in Iran. The Hyrcanian forest in the west of the park possesses a dense population of ancient trees. Oaks, maples, and chestnuts grow together. Their trunks are tall and straight. Their foliage is large. Their roots are tangled in the moist ground. The forest is home to rare creatures: brown bears, wild boars, mountain goats, and the extremely rare Persian leopard. People rarely observe them, but only see footprints appearing on the wet mud after rain. Hundreds of wild birds such as hawks, eagles, songbirds, woodpeckers, and Hyrcanian sparrows also live in the Hyrcanian forest. In spring, the forest comes alive with colorful wildflower carpets, the sound of flowing streams mixed with the mating calls of wild animals. At the edge of the forest, golden grass carpets spread out on the soft and spongy ground, dotted with low bushes. Here, people often see herds of antelope or red deer running past, or mountain goats jumping along the steep rocky slopes. Golestan National Park is a clear testament to the resilience and diversity of Iran's nature. Rarely anywhere else can you step from the scorching steppe to the ancient rainforest and witness the entire flora and fauna of West Asia like in Golestan. When visiting Golestan National Park in the early morning, you can join a wild safari, roaming over the vast steppe and jungle to observe antelopes, wild boars, and birds of prey. If you are lucky, you can catch a rare Persian leopard lurking somewhere in the bushes. In the Hyrcanian forest, you will clearly feel the change of climate and vegetation from dry yellow grass to soft, moist leaf litter. The fresh air, rich in the scent of wood and resin, makes you feel extremely comfortable. The forest trails are ideal for hiking and field biogeography. Golestan National Park is an ideal destination for those who want to study Iran's mysterious but unique ecosystem, or simply experience the original life in the deep forest. The city of Yazd is located near the center of Iran, between the two largest deserts in the country, Dashti Kavir in the north and Dashti Lut in the southeast. The isolated location and harsh climate have made this place almost untouched by modern urbanization. Thanks to that, Yazd has kept its rare intact old town, now recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. The whole neighborhood is covered in dark yellow tones from the walls, domes to the small alleys paved with rough bricks. The mud brick houses have flat roofs, narrow doors, and thick walls to prevent heat. Above, hundreds of wind towers, called badgir, rise like square tower tubes, sucking in wind from all directions and leading it down to the rooms below. The wind flows through the narrow pipes, creating a natural, cool airflow throughout the enclosed space. When the sun rises, the whole city glows in a captivating orange-yellow hue. Today, many ancient structures such as qanat systems, houses, markets, saunas, water tanks, mosques, synagogues, are still preserved intact. Yazd is also home to the last traces of Zoroastrianism, one of the oldest religions still existing in Iran. On the edge of the city is the Zoroastrian Fire Temple, where a sacred fire has been kept burning continuously for centuries. The historic city of Yazd is a testament to the extremely sophisticated earthen architecture and human adaptation to the harsh environment over millennia. When visiting Yazd at sunset, climb to the roofs of the old town and walk along the traditional wind towers to observe how the city breathes with the wind. In the late afternoon sunlight, the symmetrical three-story facade of the Amir Chakmak Mosque glows yellow, captivating dark. Don't forget to visit the Zoroastrian fire temple, where the sacred fire is said to have not been extinguished for more than 1,000 years. Yazd is an ideal destination for those who want to learn more about ancient architectural complexes in the desert, or how people have survived sustainably for centuries in harsh environments. Less than an hour north from Yazd is Maybod, an ancient town located in the middle of arid land. Once played an important role on the trade routes of the Sassanid period. Unlike Yazd, the terracotta color of Maybod is a darker ash-bronze color, due to being more affected by the sun and wind. In the center of the city, Narin Kale Fortress stands tall in the middle of the endless sea of sand. The structure was built of mud bricks, with only the rough, longitudinally split walls remaining but still retaining their shape after centuries. From Narin Kale Fortress, you can have a panoramic view of the entire city. At the edge of the city, hundreds of pigeon towers spread out, each tower nearly 10 meters high with thick walls regularly perforated. They were built to house thousands of pigeons, providing natural fertilizer for farmers. Underground is a qanat system, including underground water sources dug by hand, bringing clean water from the distant mountains to feed the whole town. Wind blows through the ancient walls, leaving thin layers of sand on the brick floor. Since the 8th century, Maybod has been an important stop on the trade route connecting Isfahan, Kerman, and Shiraz of the Silk Road, with hundreds of caravans passing through to exchange goods, news, and culture. In modern life, Maybod people still maintain traditional occupations, such as building towers, making pottery, and weaving carpets. Traditional handicrafts here not only serve the needs of residents, but are also used as offerings in temples, churches, etc. Maybod is a destination that bears the mark of the ancient trade period and unique construction techniques in the desert. When climbing to the top of Narin Kale, a clay fortress dating back more than 2,000 years, you will see the whole view of Maybod with terracotta roofs following each other like waves. Then visit hundreds of pigeon towers to understand the smart connection between nature and agricultural production in ancient times. When entering the Shah Abbasi caravanserai, an ancient stopover for caravans, you can sit in the large courtyard or the resting rooms, imagining the scene of merchants resting and exchanging goods during the Silk Road period. Maybod is an ideal place for those who want to explore the relationship between architecture, daily life, and trade in ancient Iran. Leaving Yazd, you continue your journey to the southwest of Iran. The heat gradually cools down, giving way to the wind carrying the scent of flowers. A few hours later, you arrive at Shiraz, the capital of Fars province, the capital of contemporary Persian culture and art. The city is located in a wide valley surrounded by vineyards, orange and rose gardens that bear fruit all year round. Every morning, a light dew hangs on the treetops. Sunlight pours through each canopy, falls on the tiled roofs and brick porches soaked in the color of time. In the center of Shiraz, the Nasir al-Mulk Mosque opens up a world of light inside. The sunlight shines through the stained glass panels installed along the corridors, creating vibrant color patches moving on the tiled floor. As the afternoon falls, the wind from the northern hills blows gently through the garden surrounding the Hafez mausoleum. Under the trees, people spread carpets to sit and read poems, chat, or quietly light candles next to stone tablets engraved with ancient poems. In the west of the city, Aram Garden is planned in the classical Persian style. Through the entrance gate is a row of stone steps leading up to the ancient house foundation. In the middle is a long lake. The water surface is as clear as a mirror. Only the sound of wind and the scent of jasmine and lavender waft in the air. Shiraz has long been known as the city of poetry and art. This is the hometown of Hafez and Sa'd, two great poets of Persian literature. From Hafez's rose-scented mausoleum to the quiet garden where Sa'd rests, each stone seems to be preserving immortal verses. Cultural life in Shiraz is also imbued with the spirit of Persian hospitality. At small tea shops on the street, locals and tourists chat, sip black tea under ancient eaves, and look out the windows at fruit-laden orchards. Traditional music plays during festivals and weddings, blending with the light reflecting off the brilliant domes. Art and poetry permeate every breath of Shiraz and its inhabitants. When visiting Shiraz, start your morning at the Nasir al-Mulk Mosque, where the stained glass windows create a show of light and color. Next, visit the Hafez mausoleum to commemorate the great poet and randomly open a page of his poems to get a fortune. In the afternoon, stroll in the Bagh-e-Aram or Narenjistan Kavam gardens to admire the Aina Kari, mirror mosaic art, reflecting the balanced life philosophy of ancient Iranian culture. Shiraz is an ideal destination for those who love poetry, traditional architecture, and want to feel a gentle, profound Iran through every small detail.